So, the movie starts with some exposition on Wunan, who is this great pirate in the East Blue. His epithet is the Great Legendary Pirate of Gold. We are told that he amassed a huge fortune and that his treasure was hidden on one specific island. This is basically a carbon copy of Roger, you know, the whole great treasure hidden on one island, blah 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 blah. There are a lot of comparisons you can make between Wunan and Gold D. Roger from the actual canon of the series. Next we cut to a scene of a ship being raided by the movie's main villain, El Drago. The movie makes it clear that El Drago is after Wunan's treasure. Next we cut to the Straw Hats and we see that Nami is also interested in Wunan's treasure. The Straw Hats are also shown to be starving, and it is mentioned that the last time they ate was a week ago. Some pirates sneak aboard and try to steal Nami's treasure. They temporarily distract Luffy and Zoro with some rice balls, but when Luffy looks over the ship, they shoot him in the head. Obviously he is Luffy, so the bullet doesn't hurt him. We then get this funny scene where the pirates have a crate full of flintlock pistols and they're rapidly firing one shot after another, switching between guns. Luffy uses Gum Gum Rocket and throws himself onto their ship, destroying it in the process. Suddenly, El Drago appears on his boat and uses his Devil Fruit power. El Drago uses an attack that looks like a Kamehameha, but from his mouth, and Zoro, Luffy, and the kid from earlier are knocked into the water, but they cling onto a piece of broken ship and they kind of float around for a bit. The kid proclaims that he is the great pirate Tobio and expresses that it is his goal to find the treasure island. We learn that he has previously been captured by El Drago and was forced to work for him. Luffy and Zoro smell Odin and they paddle the broken piece of ship all the way to a floating sea restaurant boat. This isn't the Baratier, since Sanji hasn't been introduced yet in the series, but rather a much smaller Odin shop ran by Tobio's grandfather, Ganzo. Tobio expresses that he doesn't want to end up like his grandfather and instead wants to be like the great pirate Wunan. After hearing Tobio discuss Wunan, Luffy decides that he also wants to find Wunan to ask him to join his crew. Luffy then, in arguably one of the funniest scenes in the movie, attempts to pay the Odin chef with a rock signed by the future king of the pirates. We then cut back to Nami, who has snuck aboard El Drago's ship, and she overhears him talking about a map to Wunan's treasure. El Drago then gets near the legendary island where Wunan's treasure supposedly is hidden. El Drago docks his ship on the coast of the island, and Nami spots the Going Merry a little further down the coast. She also sees Usopp getting captured by El Drago's crew. Usopp lies and tells El Drago that he knows where Wunan's treasure is hidden on the island. El Drago's crew then hands Usopp a map, and he almost immediately solves the riddle to El Drago's amazement. Nami then spots the Odin restaurant ship with Luffy and Zoro chained up on it. Tobio runs off with Luffy's hat and Luffy begins to chase him, dragging Zoro along with him. Usopp and El Drago's crew find the whale from the riddle. Meanwhile, Luffy catches up to Tobio and gets his hat. Nami catches up with El Drago's crew and overhears Usopp claiming that he was close friends with Wunan and that El Drago shouldn't dare lay a hand on him or Wunan's crew would get their revenge. This then prompts all of the crew to laugh, and then they proclaim loudly that they personally had killed all of Wunan's crew. They continue walking to the castle, but they come across a blocked path. Then, this really tall swordsman from El Drago's crew steps up and cuts the rubble in half, clearing the path entirely. El Drago's crew then find Wunan's castle. This is when Nami reveals herself and claims to be Wunan's granddaughter and reveals that his treasure is hidden under the castle gate. El Drago uses his power to destroy the castle and search for the gold. At this point, we get the name drop of El Drago's fruit. It is the Scream fruit. Luffy and Zoro then arrive and tell El Drago to stop. Tobio knocks Zoro and Luffy aside and claims that he will defeat El Drago alone and protect Wunan's castle. Zoro then saves Tobio from El Drago's attack, and El Drago and Zoro engage in a fight, with Luffy still attached to his back. The chain then gets caught on some rocks, and Luffy, Zoro, and Tobio get catapulted into the sky. Nami and Usopp then reunite with the rest of the group, and she unlocks the chains and informs the group that the treasure is in fact not hidden in the castle, but somewhere else. She lights the map on fire in an attempt to reveal some hidden secrets, but it just burns up to a crisp. Usopp then repeats the riddle from earlier, and then they realize collectively that it actually points to the mountain on the other side of the island. The whole group, including Tobio, then begin the long climb to the top. They come across a cave, and then when they go inside, they discover that Ganzo is already there. Ganzo tells the group that he was actually childhood friends with Wunan. Then we get a flashback of the two, who look like young teenagers at this point, and Wunan tries to recruit Ganzo, but Ganzo declines, claiming that he wants to travel and let the people of the world eat his Odin instead. Wunan insists, and the fight breaks out between the two. Wunan then falls off the cliff, and the two are left dangling on the branch above the water. Ganzo, in order to not rip Wunan's Jolly Roger, lets go. Fortunately, he doesn't die, but he's left badly injured, and when Ganzo awakes, Wunan has already left on his pirate journey. This is the last time the two saw each other, and we cut back to the group as they reach the top of the mountain. They discover a hut. When they look inside, they find that it's empty apart from a fireplace. Zoro moves the fireplace and it reveals a secret stairway leading down into the basement. Suddenly, a sword attack destroys the hut and El Drago and his crew arrive on the scene. El Drago strikes Ganzo, knocking him to the ground, and Tobio tries to defend his grandfather, but he is powerless against El Drago. Fortunately, Luffy steps in and punches El Drago. Luffy then eats the Odin that had been stomped into the ground by El Drago and had been originally made for Wunan by Ganzo. Gorash, the swordsman in El Drago's crew, then attacks Zoro and he pushes him back. Zoro recognizes his strength, but he also notices that Gorash hesitates. Zoro uses this opportunity to gain the upper hand, and with a single move he cuts down Gorash, ending their fight. Next, Luffy steps up to El Drago. El Drago immediately begins to charge up his attack and shoots it at Luffy. Luffy uses the momentum to use his Gum Gum rocket and slams into El Drago. The fight continues with both sides landing attacks. Ultimately, Luffy gets hit by a second of El Drago's blast attacks, but he's relatively unfazed, and Luffy hits El Drago again, knocking him to the floor. El Drago immediately gets back up and goes on the offensive again. Luffy uses Gum Gum Whip to break El Drago's golden armor, and El Drago begins to charge up another blast attack, but Luffy uses Gum Gum Balloon to absorb it and repel it back onto El Drago. El Drago is knocked to the floor, and Luffy finishes the fight with the signature Gum Gum Bazooka. El Drago's crew then run away, and the main group then go down the staircase from before, and they come across a big wooden door. They open the door and they discover Wunan's skeleton. Tobio breaks down, seeing his idol dead, but Usopp points out that there is writing on the walls. The writing reads that Wunan had given up his gold and pirate days and was just waiting to die, and that he had returned all the gold that he had stolen to his rightful owners. We also get a flashback to Wunan sat in front of his gold, and we hear Ganzo's quote from earlier: "Gold can't laugh, it is just like a rock." There is still a treasure in the room though, and that is Wunan's original Jolly Roger from all those years ago, something that Wunan considered more valuable than gold before his death. Tobio then realizes that he was wrong to judge his grandfather, and we cut to a scene of the crew giving their final goodbyes at the beach to Ganzo and Tobio. Nami offers Ganzo some treasure to pay for the meal Zoro and Luffy didn't pay for earlier. However, Ganzo refuses to accept the treasure and instead claims that the crew will always have a debt to him. He does this so that they will have to meet again. The crew then set sail and they wave goodbye to Ozan and Tobio. The movie ends with Tobio yelling thank you to Luffy.